without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first panelist here. We have Rachel, and she's going to be talking about the art and science of how to clarify your best fit for your career path. Now, let's just kick this off here. So are you struggling to know what you want to do with your life? Boy, oh boy, does that question already ring true for me. So do you want to make a change but you get trapped in uncertainty? Then your future self will thank you for attending this talk. Join the coach, Rachel. Now, Rachel, I actually don't know how to pronounce your last name, so you can correct me in just a moment, and I'll let you do that, to help you uncover your readiness for your career change, unblock you from typical limiting career mindsets, and learn her novel proven process to clarify your best fit career path. Part informational and part practical exercises, you'll leave this talk with practical tools and plan for how to move forward towards the right career for you. Rachel, thank you so much for being here, and I apologize, I didn't want to missay your name, so can you please tell us how to pronounce your last name?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Serwetz, and I'm excited to kick off this summit together today.
Yes, thank you so much, Rachel Serwetz. Okay, so before I think you have some slides for us and some information, but can you just kick us off maybe a little bit about yourself and how you started this journey? Because I imagine maybe these were some questions that you asked yourself and now you get to share it with other people. So you can talk about that a little bit for us?
Absolutely. You are very correct. I was focused on figuring out this very answer for myself, and I was also helping people informally by way of referral with their careers. So by way of hearing from a lot of folks and hearing their challenges, as well as, figuring it out for myself, plus eventually getting training with coaching, you combine all those things and it has created a lot of tools and frameworks that has proven to help. But the long story short of my background is I was a human development major in undergraduate, wanted to get into the business world. That was already my first sort of hurdle to overcome. I was able to break in and started out in financial services. I was at Goldman Sachs in operations. Then I went to Bridgewater, which is a hedge fund, in more of HR. So constantly with every job change, trying to pursue what I felt is more right for me. From there, I got coaching training through NYU and certified through the ICF. And then I did a tech MBA. I also started coaching through a variety of organizations. WeWork, the Flatiron School, Columbia University, Project Activate, a few other coaching organizations. And I've been building my own business for almost 5 years now, which is the crux of, just advancing these frameworks deeper and deeper. So that's the long story short of my journey.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you so much. And it's such a vast amount of experience. So I'm very excited to hear all of the tools that you can offer and for folks that are going through these questions themselves right now. So would you like to kick us off with some of your slides and we can walk through that? And also just to encourage everyone that's watching, if questions come up for you, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And then Rachel and I are going to have a Q&A where we will I can relay some of your questions here. So feel free, as things are coming up for you, drop it in the chat and we will do our best to get to them. So with that, I'll pass it over to you, Rachel.
Cool. You can see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So the title, it's the art and the science, right? Because we are going to go through a proven, process, but there's a combination of the action steps you can take as well as relating things back to who you are. And there's an emotional part of this too. So there's a holistic element that we're going to talk about here in terms of your career path. I went through my journey, so I will skip right over this. And this is just a brief agenda of what we're going to do today. I have a lot here for you, so I'm going to go a little quickly, hopefully not too quickly, but I want to jam pack all the value I can and just, hit us with your questions and we will get to them. Probably mostly towards the end, we might pepper in a few questions throughout as well. So first and foremost, considering if you even want a career change, sometimes this is the first battle where sometimes people are considering this want for so long that they're just not even sure they want it at all, or how do you know if you want it, right? So I would think about how long it's been on your mind. How engaged are you with your current path? Have you felt like you wanted more, but you're just not sure what the next step would be? Sometimes that really can hold us back from pursuing the next steps. And like I said, are you aware of what could come next? So try not to sort of second guess yourself so much. If you've been thinking about wanting or needing more for a decent period of time, I think that's enough to tell yourself it's at least worth exploring what that thing might be. And I'm going to show you how you can actually explore that before you apply to any jobs, right? The exploration is an okay phase to be in, just to get some answers before you officially start job searching. So what do you want? What do you need out of a career? These are some questions that might help you assess where you're at. Is your potential or challenge being fulfilled? Again, what do you need out of a career versus what do you want out of a career? And how does your current gig stack up against that, right? So understanding yourself and understanding a little bit of where you stand. And I'm always a big fan of take pen to paper, start to write some of these benchmarks out, and it might help you clarify like where things where those gaps or areas of improvement might be specifically. You also want to think about if there's anything holding you back. Is there hesitations, whether you're capable of that next step, a fear of failure? There's any number of very common feelings, and we're actually going to debunk a few of those limiting mindsets today. But understanding how you feel is so important. Sometimes it's subconscious, and so it's okay to, whether it's a mentor, a peer, a coach, or a therapist, just explore how you feel, because sometimes overcoming that mindset is the very first step to being able to pursue some other practical steps like networking or whatever it may be. So understanding your mindset first and foremost. And then, really thinking about what mindset would you have to adopt to embrace and pursue your best potential. Would you have to be open-minded, creative, a little vulnerable, a little brave? Again, I'm going to show you how career exploration can create a safer way of exploring a change before you pursue that change. But you might think about how you feel now versus how you'd need to feel or want to feel in order to open yourself up to those possibilities. Getting comfortable with change, right? So picture what change might look and feel like. It's possible you're sort of worried about, would it be such a big change? But allow yourself to really think about what would change. Is it a lifestyle change? Is it moving cities? Is it remote work? Or is it, any uncertainty, salary on your mind? Can you turn that into a question, and can you turn those questions into answers? I'm such a big fan of using information to really help guide how we feel. Sometimes we determine how we feel before we have the answers. So try to turn those uncertainties into questions, into answers. Learning is the key. We're going to talk a lot about this today. Career exploration is the process we're going to talk about, where you can learn and reflect to figure out what it is you want and what's a fit for you before you pursue it. And just take comfort knowing that you can learn before you act. You might learn about something you think is a fit and then it's actually not, or you might learn about something and it really does validate that hypothesis that you thought it was a fit, and maybe it actually is. But get those questions answered, reflect, and reassess. Based on all that information, we're going to see how we feel after we get all that, right? Support. Sometimes there's some unspoken pressure from loved ones. Sometimes it's spoken pressure from loved ones, but see what conversations you might need to have with yourself or with others around you. I had a personal instance where I felt this like unspoken pressure. It was from my father, and he wanted the best for me, and he wanted me to have this secure path. And this was when I knew that entrepreneurship was right for me. So I literally cried telling him, I need to go do this thing. And it was hard because, they want the best for you, our family, but we often think that everyone around us is like a career coach and everyone thinks they're a career coach and we give each other career advice. But remember, career coaches are specific people. We're here for you and we're here to help you manage those conversations with family members to figure out how everyone can get on the same page and still feel secure. They want the best for you, which is good. So we want to find that security, but also alignment and fulfillment with our career. So now we're going to talk a little bit about these limiting beliefs and we're going to try to debunk them. So number one is stress. This is a very valid feeling around career decisions. Try to apply structure when you feel stressed. So sometimes when we feel stressed, our instinct is to like go to the job boards and apply to something and job hop, find the next best thing, or any number of those instinctual things. Try to take a step back and say, what's my goal? Is my goal to figure out what I really want? How can I get from A to Z? And then sometimes that immediate action you were considering maybe isn't the right best next step. Maybe your next best step would be getting support, getting guidance, networking, researching, reflection. It could be any number of things, but really take a step back to try to create a process based on where it is you're looking to go. And sometimes our immediate reaction out of stress isn't the best one. So try to apply that structure instead. Security. We all want a career path that is secure. I think that's relatively safe to say. I like to say the career path you're most interested in is usually the one that's actually most secure, because it's rare to find someone on the team in an organization that's like truly, just so engaged and so authentically aligned and interested in that work that they want to go above and beyond. They want to learn, and they're truly just really create that sense of innovation because they're really meant to be there, and they're really suitably aligned with what that work is. And so you do want to think about security. You also want to think about alignment with the path and suitability. When people just think about security alone, that's when usually later they're like, oh, I should have thought about these other things. So it's a factor amongst the others, right? It can't really be the sole factor, depending on where you are in your life. If you need just a job financially, of course it can be, but we want to consider all the elements of helping you align with the work as well, because it does have benefits. Sometimes we tell ourselves, I can't do this before we even learn enough about that path. So learn. Talk with people who are in those paths to understand the nuances and the reality of what that path really looks and feels like, and how people actually break in before you decide whether you can or you can't. Give that benefit of the doubt, get that information before you can move forward. Sometimes we over-index on our past journey to decide where we're going to go next. Your story above and beyond is the key thing here, instead of just where you've been. First and foremost, I think people underestimate their transferable skills from their past. But really, if you know you're a fit for a certain role and why, and you've done your due diligence and you can tell that story in an interview, you'd be surprised how many people are truly doing that in an interview. So your sort of understanding of what that role is and why you're a fit, even if you haven't done it, can actually go a very, very, very long way. Sometimes people think solely long term. I like to over-index on the short term, about 70% of it, and about 30% where might that role lead me in the future. But if you only think about where am I going to be in X number of decades or X number of years, you may change, the world may change, those jobs may change. So I wouldn't solely look at like, where am I looking to go in the future? I would actually look at what's the next role that's really a strong fit, because that may open you up to the next step, the second and third and fourth step that you might not even have been aware of existed. So by really saying what's the next role or team or organization that's a great fit, it's going to open you up deeper to the right world, and then you see where you want to go from there. So every change is going to be informed, and then that's really what builds a very organic, great career path. So just be careful of skipping too many steps in your head. When people tell me they're open, to me, that means they're not sure of what they want. I'd rather you be picky. Being open, I think people have this like perspective that it makes them open to more from a quantity perspective, but you can actually find more in a quantity perspective that are still targeted. I actually have a blog on Power to Fly's website about being narrow and targeted in your job search and how that's not going to close you off, but it's actually going to get you more efficiently to find the more things. So if you're open, that might mean that you're not sure which role or which industry is a fit. So use that as a signal to dive deeper and figure out what that right fit is. Oftentimes we make choices based on just what we're aware of. I'd rather you say, I don't know, I'm still learning, I'm exploring these different roles, these different industries, I'm learning. I mean, we may never fully understand every industry out there, but don't just make a choice based on like, these are the 1 or 2 jobs I've heard of from my world today. We might need to learn and open ourselves up to things we don't know yet. People think of interviewing as this thing I need to do well. Think about it as a conversation. Who do you want to talk to? About what? Why? These conversations are about problems to solve. It's a mirror into the work you're going to do. So try not to be like transactional. I think in job search, we just want to do well, check the box. But sometimes we do so well that we forget that it's a two-way conversation as well. And I've been doing a lot of LinkedIn Lives to talk about that very thing. It's a two-way assessment of fit. So don't forget that conversational element. You're learning, they're learning. And if you think about like, who do I want to talk to, where and why, it might help clue you in as to your best fit direction. Oftentimes we apply. Try to explore, right? It's not just about applying to every job. It's okay to take a moment, a beat, or even be in an entire phase of exploration before you apply anywhere. What a revelation. We often look at other people around us. It's all about you. All right. It's all about you. And yes, maybe your family and your loved ones, if you're taking care of them, but what other people are doing, it doesn't matter unless they're a positive, motivating source of influence. Our brains naturally, go to that comparison mode. But you're the one who's going to live and breathe that job every day. So really remember, it's about you. It's about your future. It's about what aligns with you. No one else is going to have to endure those feelings, right? And your loved ones are going to have to endure what you're like in that job. So they want you to be in a suitable path as well. And we often make decisions out of fear. Replace fear with learning. If there's a hesitation, if there's an uncertainty, if there's anything you're not sure of, figure out, do I need to reflect more? Do I need to learn more? What can you do to alleviate that sense of fear? Oftentimes, greater information can do wonders to alleviate the fear and help you feel informed about whether that path is a fit or not. And if the answer is no, that's okay. At least that's clarity, right? And it gets you, that no gets you one step closer to what is a fit, right? So you want to think about what area, I'm going to kind of move a little quickly, but what area needs the most improvement? So I like to think about this 3-part framework. Anytime you're either in a current job or looking for your next thing, this 3-part framework is your friend. So the role is one component. It's a big component. It's what are you doing all day? It's those activities, the skills, the style of the work. It hopefully aligns with your affinities and what you're natural at, what you're great at, what you enjoy doing. The second piece is the industry, which is the content. So any industry or any organization has a purpose. What are they doing? Who are they helping? How are they doing it? Why are they doing it? What's the area of impact or innovation? Those are 2 separate things. Oftentimes there's many roles that might exist in any industry, right? So remember that. And of course, the environment. What does it look and feel like? Both the tangibles and the intangibles of the people, the vibe, the culture, the values, the personality, the pace of the work. Is it remote or not? All that bells and whistles, right? Role, industry, environment. So if you're ever sort of not sure how to break down that framework, either to assess where you need to improve your current path or where you're going next, these are the 3 buckets. You really want to get strong clarity on what you want, what's a fit for you in each of these 3 areas. Okay, so what is career exploration? It is a process that is distinct from and a precursor to the job search. Precursor. You want to go through this before the job search begins. So it's a series of steps of learning and reflection to compare, contrast, and clarify which path you are confident in pursuing. And that might just simply mean what next step you're confident in pursuing. It doesn't have to mean my whole long journey has to be figured out. But anytime you're ready to job search, you want to give yourself the time to say, what's right, what's next for me, and then I'm going to go pursue it, right? That's what career exploration is. Why does it have to come before job searching? It's going to make your job search more efficient. It's going to make your job search more effective. Your interviews are going to just be night and day, authentic and compelling, because essentially career exploration is your way of answering those interview questions for yourself before anyone asks it to you. Right? Why is this role a fit for you? Where do you want to be in a few years? Why are you interested in this industry or organization? All those answers is what you're going to get for yourself so that they're truthful, right? As well as job fulfillment. How are we going to be confident that we're going to like it once we get there? That's what career exploration is all about. It's this myth that you have to try it to know if you like it. So I'm going to show you the process to get that confidence before you get into the job. I'm going to take a few quick questions here from the chat. Short-term versus long-term. How do you express interest in being with a company long-term if it's something you should say in an interview? So Konita, that's a great question. When they ask you, why are you interested in this company or where do you want to be in 5 years? During the interview, you can it's funny, like they might ask you about the long-term, but really all you can actually do is genuinely express the interest that you have now. They know that you don't know how you're going to feel in a few years, but if you can bring that question back to like why you're so interested in it and where you want to grow and what you want to learn about within that industry, within that organization, where you can grow other teams in the organization that's interesting to you, and really just reiterate why that role and team and industry is such a fit for you. That's kind of what they want to hear. Like they know that you can't predict the future, but it's a moment to reiterate your genuine interest. They want to just, they're trying to smell out in that question, like, are you just going to jump ship tomorrow if a better interview comes along? So the more you can just reiterate, like genuinely what elements about that role or that team or that company or that industry truly speak to you and why it's truly interesting to you, and the more authentic and compelling you can be in that answer, they're going to just believe like, oh, this person like thus might want to be here for a long time to come because of all these reasons that they're actually interested. So this is why you need those authentic answers, right? I hope that answers your question. They know you don't know where you're going to be, but if you show them all the things that are interesting to you, it's a way of proving there's so much you can do here. There's so much to come. There's so much you want to work on, right? Okay, 5 minutes. I'm going to race forward. So this is the process. This is career exploration. In essence, first, you're going to commit to the process. Then you're going to reflect on your interest as it relates to the function, the day-to-day, the content, the problem areas you want to solve, and the environment. Then you want to translate options for roles and industries. And then you want to research, network, maybe a little experiential learning and reflection and pivoting. So when you keep learning, you keep reflecting and you keep pivoting, that's your ability to figure out eventually which role and which industry is the best fit. And that's when you start job searching. If you still have options on your radar, keep learning and keep reflecting. There is a feasibility that you get to a place that you say, I know which role and industry is right for my next step. Sometimes people don't know that that's a possible feeling, and I'm here to tell you that it is. Keep learning, keep reflecting until you feel that, and that's when you want to pursue job search. We're going to skip over this industry, this exercise, but accountability, don't forget accountability. Once you know your goal, create a timeline, work it into your routine, figure out what tools are going to help you stay on track, and format of support. Do you want career coaching? Do you want peers? Do you need a blog or a book or videos? Really figure out what's going to help you pursue this goal in reality. Accountability is half the battle. I'm going to just take some questions in our last few minutes here. So let's see. Charlotte asks, do you have tips for getting more responses from apps and outreach? I love the idea of being picky, but recruiters and ATS are too, especially towards people. Transferring industries, yes. So if you're transferring industries, remember that like your role and if you're doing same role but different industry, it's a lot easier. So really, for Charlotte's question, double down on your fit for the role, the style of the work, the value, the fact that you've done it before, the day-to-day. If you've done that, I would really double down. And then if you need to add a little bit of experience in that industry, figure out what you can do on the side. Is it a little course? Is it shadowing, volunteering, just getting involved with that industry somehow? But yeah, if you're doing same role, different industry, then you should have somewhat of an easier time. But any gap that you have in whatever pivot you're making, just try to fill those gaps somehow, and just make sure you're learning from people in that industry about the nuances of who they really hire in reality, what they look for. And then you've got the answers to go, you now know what you need to do to break in. So learn from professionals, add any gaps that you can fill, and double down on the value that you've already had if you're staying in the same role.
Rachel, that was a masterclass, like fast pass, half hour, just like whirlwind of information. I'm just going to fire some things off. Getting comfortable with change. Can you turn uncertainty into questions, and those questions into answers? You talked about vulnerability, and the interview is a conversation. When stressed, apply structure. Replace fear with learning. Explore, explore, explore before you apply, apply, apply. I took that like literally, like apply, 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 but also metaphorically, like before I apply these tools, I need to explore, 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 right? So thank you so much. We could literally talk about this all day with you. I hope we do at some point. But in the meantime, how can people stay connected with you, reach out, find more resources, and keep learning and exploring with you? Because you clearly have so much to offer.
Yes, I will give our website in the chat. It's iamwoken.com. We've been putting a ton of free blogs and videos, so we're always here to help as much as we can. We offer a free initial call if you are interested in getting career coaching support. And yeah, we do events with Power to Fly all the time. We have one on September 27th. So, come back, visit us, and always happy to answer questions in sessions like these, or wherever you can get in touch, social media, website, email, reach out, wherever you can find me, always happy to help.
Fantastic. And are there any last things you'd like to share with our listeners before we say so long for now?
Just get support. You don't have to go at this alone, whether it's a peer, a mentor, a coach, therapist, whoever it may be. Power to Fly is great. Really just get support. You're not alone in this journey. It takes more resilience, patience, and persistence to pursue career goals than I think we give ourselves credit for. So know that these are important things. There's support out there to help you, and just know that it's feasible to figure out what path is the best fit for you, and really just allow yourself the time to do that before you start applying anywhere.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you for the time. Thank you for your clarity. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you for doing this again. We hope to have you back.